Hi, today we are going to learn about tricks. Tricks basically, like playing with which is triangle. So playing with the triangle. So especially we're going to start with the right triangle. So right triangle is one, should be right angle right there, right? And we're going to learn sine and cosine and tangent. That's after that we have an angle here, any angle here, then from this there's three sides. We call it, this is like a longer one. We call it hypotenuse. And then from this three, among these three, if you know two sides, Pythagorean theorem, you can find the other side, right? So because right triangle. And so if you know any two sides, with that you want to find any angles there. That's basically the sine, cosine, tangent. So sine, cosine, tangent. So let's learn. Let's say this angle is this angle. Okay, from this angle, all the time, right angle here, that's opposite of this right angle, we call it hypotenuse side, right? Hypotenuse side. And from this angle, this side, this one we call it opposite side right there, okay? And then just next to it, not hypotenuse, just attached to it, this side we call it adjacent side. So from there, one more time, from this angle, opposite, hypotenuse here, this length, hypotenuse all the time first. You can do that first. The opposite angle of right angle, right? Opposite side of the right angle, and adjacent. Then we call it SOH. SOH means sine is ratio of the sine theta with the angle here. All the time, sine, cosine, tangent, after that should be angle, then they put it together, they cannot separate, okay? They go together all the time. Sine theta, sine angle is opposite over hypotenuse, so that's why we call it so right there. Cosine is now adjacent over hypotenuse, that's why we call it so right there, right? And tangent is opposite over adjacent, so that's why we call it, we read it TOA, to memorize easy. So TOA we call it. So let's practice this one a little bit. Then from the value, now we can, they're asking sine, cosine, tangent. So this is x, then sine x, cosine x, tangent x. We can find sine x from this angle, opposite side this, right? And then this is hypotenuse all the time, right? So opposite over hypotenuse, 5 over 13. Okay, so we can find this angle x, but for now, the sine x, we can express 5 over 13 right there. And then cosine, adjacent, so right? So, and now right? And TOA. So adjacent over hypotenuse, so 12 over 13, right? Right there. And then tangent is opposite over adjacent, so TOA, right? So 5 over 12. You can do it like that, right? From this triangle, because one side is not given, then you can use the Pythagorean theorem, because the hypotenuse all the time, c squared, c is this hypotenuse, right? 5 squared equals two other side, because we don't know, let's name it x. Then 4 squared plus x squared. So 5 squared equals 4 squared plus x squared, right? Then this is 25 and 16 plus x squared. Then minus 16 both sides, and this 9 equals x squared, x equals 3. So we found this side length is 3. Because all the time right triangle, then you need to think of Pythagorean theorem. So one side not given, then you can find by using the Pythagorean theorem. So now same, sine x, in this case, easy, opposite over hypotenuse, 3 over 5. And cosine x equals 4 over 5, because adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent x, 3 over 5, opposite over adjacent. You can do that way, easy. Okay, with that, let's find the, we call it special angles. So there are two special right triangle. One is 30 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree one. And the other one is 45, 45, and 90 degree one. These two very important in geometry, two special right triangles. So when this is a 30, 60, 90, then opposite side of 30 should be all the time 1. Ratio is 1 all the time. And this opposite side, adjacent side of 30 or 60, opposite side is root 3. and the hypotenuse 2. That's the ratio. 1 root 3, 2. So maybe 2 root 3, 4. You can that's the ratio. Okay? And 45 is all the time 1 root 2 ratio. So with that, sine 30, then this 30 right here. So opposite of that is this 1 and hypotenuse 2. So that we can tell this is 1 over 2. Sine 45 is, let's say you can use any angles of here. Opposite 1 over root 2. 1 over root 2, rationalize, root 2 multiply, then root 2 over 2. Okay? And sine 60, now you need to use this 60 right here. Opposite is root 3. Root 3 over hypotenuse 2 again. Root 3 over 2, right? Cosine 30 is what? Adjacent over hypotenuse, root 3 over 2. Right? And then cosine 45, maybe you can use this angle then. 1 over root 2 again, which is the root of 2. And cosine 60 now, cosine is adjacent here, 1 over 2. Okay? And how about tangent? Tangent 30 is 1 over root 3, right? Opposite of adjacent, 1 over root 3. But we rationalize it, then root 3 over 3. We can write it that way. But tangent 45 here, opposite over adjacent, 1. And then tangent 60 is root 3 over 1. Root 3 over 1, which is root 3, right? So this is very important that you might need to memorize. Okay, so let's use that and then practice a little bit. So this is special angle, right? Special angle 60. Then from there, this is what? Opposite. Yes, this one hypotenuse. Then we can use what? Sine, because opposite over hypotenuse, right? So sine, now what? 60 degree equals what? X over 100, right? So you not find x, we multiply 100 there because they degree and then sine cosine together go together all the time. So write it 100 sine 60 x. This is a root 3 over 2 if you memorize it. So 100 root 3 over 2. That's the final answer, right? This triangle now, from this 45 angle, well, let's use this 45 this time. So this is a 45, then straight 45. Then this is now what? Adjacent, right? Adjacent, and then this is hypotenuse, right? Adjacent, hypotenuse, then what? CAH, right? Adjacent and hypotenuse. All the time when you see a right triangle, and then you might need to use a sine, cosine, tangent, and you might write, if you don't memorize it, you write it so, CAH, TOA, until you fully memorize it. You can, you're comfortable with that, you might write it there. This is a CAH right there. So this which means cosine. Cosine 45 degree equals adjacent, which is x here, over 20. X over 20. Same. Now, cosine x equals 20 cosine 45. Cosine 45 root 2 of 2. So 20 root 2 of 2. Then you can simplify is here. And root 2 is the answer. Okay? So now you can, there's a lot of application of the tricks, but let's do two of those for now. So first you need to know this problem, the word problem is not, it looks like it's kind of complicated, but after you problem this word, you draw the diagram, then it's very simple, just as we practiced before. So let's read it. The park ranger whose eye level is 5 feet above the ground measures the angle of the elevation to the top of an eruption of Old Faithful geyser to be 30 degrees. If the ranger is standing 200 feet from the geyser's base, what is the height of the eruption? So first, you need to understand the angle of the, your park ranger right here. This is a 5 feet. Eye level is here, right? So 5 feet right there. And angle of elevation all the time from this eye level right here, okay? This going up, we call it angle of elevation. Elevation. And then from this eye level, you're going down, look down, that's angle of depression. If you draw this angle, depression. Angle of depression, angle of elevation, angle of depression. Okay? So this, in this case, angle of elevation. So we're gonna go up there, and now what? Okay, angle of elevation is 30 degrees. So this is 30 degrees. We're gonna draw 30 degrees. And then there's a geyser. Don't know about it like that. You cannot stand on the geyser and measure the height of the geyser, but we can do it this way. So first, they're asking this height, right? This height, but you cannot. So that's not the triangle here, right triangle. This is right triangle right there. Okay, and then this is a 5. So we can add 5 later, but this is, let's say, x, because this is right triangle. We can draw here. And then it says that 200, this 200 from the base of the geyser's base, right? So that's 200. And now this from this angle 30, this x also, again, opposite, right? And this is adjacent. Oh, that's TOA, right? TOA. So that means tangent. Tangent 30 degree equals x over 200. So x equals 200, tangent 30 degree. Okay, that's x. But they're asking height, right? Height is 200. That tangent root 30 is root 3 over 3. So you can write it root 3 over 3. And height, you need to add this 5 because this is x, what we found. But height, they're asking this total, right? So you need to add 5. That's the final answer. You can use a calculator, but that's for now. That's it for now. Okay, now a little different problem. We can solve it here. So it says now what? Okay, a person standing on the top of the 50-meter high cliff sees a boat on the water. The angle of depression from the top of the cliff to the boat is 20 degrees. And what's the length of the light if you saw a flashlight held by the person on the boat? Or you are on the boat and you see the flashlight, right? So that means now let's draw. This is a 50, and then a person standing right here. And then you're on the boat, and you're on the boat right here, and then you saw that light. So they're asking this length, right? Flashlight goes that way, right? So that's what they're asking. But now you need first find out angle of depression. Angle of depression means from horizontal line, eye level, going down this angle of depression. This is 20 degrees, right? And then it's a 50. And then they're asking this x, okay? So first, this is a 50. And because the bottom triangle, right triangle, top right triangle is the same, so this is a 20 also, congruent. Or this alternate into angles, so that should be same, right? And this right triangle, we see the 20 degree here. This angle, this is the opposite side. This is what? Hypotenuse, because a right angle here, then opposite of the right angle, that's hypotenuse. So OH, oh, that's a so, right? That means sine. Sine 20, that's angle, equals opposite over hypotenuse. Hypotenuse says 50 and hypotenuse x. You to find x, you need to multiply x the other side. X sine 20 degree equals 50, right? And then x equals, you divide by this again, 50 over sine 20. With your calculator, you can find out, but you can leave an answer like that for now.